Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm ALISON DELPERCIO, the Director of All Children, All Families program at the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, the public education arm of the nation's largest civil rights organization. The Foundation's programs, research, and training initiatives are designed to improve the daily lives of LGBTQ people. The All Children, All Families program, or ACAF, as you'll hear it called today, is part of our effort to realize that vision by providing resources to guide child welfare agencies in their work with LGBTQ youth and families. And here we are today to celebrate the release of our new report, Changemakers in Child Welfare 2020. Thank you so much for logging in to join us for the celebration. That's what it is, a celebration of the child welfare organizations who worked with us over the last year to move the needle for LGBTQ people in their care. I'm grateful to each of you for this occasion to celebrate because collectively we are grieving. We're grieving the losses from this pandemic. We are grieving in the face of systemic racism that puts Black lives at risk every day in our communities. Through this grief, so many of you continue to push for change. Thank you for giving me hope despite our grief. Today is a celebration and also a call to keep going. To kick us off with the celebration, it's my honor to introduce you to Alfonso David, President of the Human Rights Campaign. Alfonso is an accomplished and nationally recognized LGBTQ civil rights lawyer and advocate. He's the first civil rights lawyer, the first Black man, and the first person of color to serve as president of the HRC in the organization's 40-year history. He's been at the forefront of the movement for LGBTQ equality for more than a decade at the national and state level, serving as counsel to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, as New York Deputy Secretary and Counsel for Civil Rights, and as staff attorney at the Lambda Legal. Please welcome HRC President Alfonso David.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. I hope that you're all safe and I hope that you're all healthy. It is my distinct honor to be here today as we launch this important report. The All Children, All Families program was first launched in 2006. And over the past 14 years, this pillar of the Human Rights Campaign has helped change the realities of LGBTQ children, youth, and families in the child welfare system. Back in 2006, many adoption and foster care agencies were not actually that accepting. They were either unwilling or unprepared to welcome prospective LGBTQ parents into their doors. Many agencies were not willing to acknowledge the fact that LGBTQ youth were not only in their care, but disproportionately represented. And they neglected to understand the full impact of bias in the welfare system, specifically on Black and brown LGBTQ children, on Black and brown LGBTQ youth, and on Black and brown LGBTQ families. In so doing, they were not only failing to address the health, the safety, and the well-being of children, but they were not actually caring for them. Over the past 14 years, the All Children, All Families program has grown, and it has helped change the landscape by providing national leadership and a comprehensive framework, including tools, training, and technical expertise to hundreds of agencies and thousands of child welfare professionals across this nation. Today, we are recognizing the achievements of 100 agencies that have engaged with our team over the past year to improve the experiences of LGBTQ youth and families in their care. These agencies include both public and private, large and small, and represent every region in our country. And what unites each of them is their commitment to LGBTQ community. Despite the attacks from anti-equality leaders and others who seek to discriminate, these organizations recognize the importance of being LGBTQ inclusive and ensuring that every child and every family has the support that they need to thrive. In this climate, the climate of COVID-19, this shared work is even more important than ever. This pandemic deepens the inequalities that LGBTQ people face, particularly people of color, who are deeply grateful for each and every one of you, the leaders and the organizations profiled in this report, who are doing your very best to ensure that all children or all families can weather the challenges ahead. You are not just simply demonstrating LGBTQ inclusiveness. You're pushing yourselves to be creative. You're pushing yourselves to be innovative with how you support and encompass LGBTQ children and families in your work. On behalf of the Human Rights Campaign, we are deeply grateful to each and every one of you for embracing the beautiful diversity of families and ensuring that LGBTQ children are safe and affirmed in their homes. We thank you on behalf of the entire LGBTQ community, and we look forward to many more years of partnership as we continue to move the child welfare field and the entire country toward full equality. And someone who is and will continue to be part of that drumbeat towards equality is our next speaker, NAKIYA Lynch. NAKIYA is a 20-year-old genderqueer person, pansexual, and self-described, quote, firecracker. They are passionate, direct, outgoing, and known for their interesting fashion choices and bright green hair. NAKIYA is committed to inclusivity and intersectionality in Black and LGBTQ spaces. Through advocacy, NAKIYA hopes to teach and guide parents and LGBTQ youth about important issues such as sexual health, particularly in their home district of Prince George's County, Maryland, where NAKIYA feels these topics have not been well addressed in schools and community services. When NAKIYA is not scrolling through Twitter, spending time with friends, or working at the local Department of Social Services, they can be found at a rally or at an event speaking on behalf of queer foster youth. NAKIYA loves to laugh almost as much as they love justice and making sure everyone has equal access to resources, support, and community inclusivity. Please welcome NAKIYA Lynch.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so great to be here. Can everybody see me well?
Not yet.
Ooh. There we go.
Yes, perfect.
Now? Okay. Like I was saying, so great to be here, even if it's just through a web chat. To have some sort of connection during these trying times, it means a lot. And to do so convey such a feeling of hope, right? Although it's a little scarce right now, hope has been something I've held on to through many experiences in my life. Just the idea of it has been enough to get through some rough times. And I'm sure all of you can relate to that sentiment.
NAKIYA,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you because you are breaking up a little bit and your sound is very low. So can you increase your sound?
Okay, let me see if I can do it different on the, yeah. Can y'all hear me now?
Much better.
Hello? Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We want to make sure we hear you, so.
Yes. Okay. So, hope right now is very important. And although it's scarce, hope has been something I've held on to through many trying experiences in my life. Just the idea of it has been to get me through some rough times. And I'm sure all of you can relate to that sentiment, especially now when it feels like everyone could use a little hope the most. Hope has always meant a lot to me. It's just beautiful as a concept. The way it can take on any form or meaning in any moment in person, how it can be so serendipitous, yet so powerful, how it can come from something so casual, yet mean so much to the right person. I'm sure when some of you started this work, though you probably knew right away how meaningful it is, it probably felt casual, like a regular everyday thing. You studied in your field, you got a job, and you started doing it. I bet sometimes that aspect of it can get a little annoying, how casual it can feel. You do so much, yet those feelings of hopelessness or burnout or worry can start to seep in and cloud the rays of hope that once shine down on everything you do. And I'm here to remind you of not only how necessary you are, but how appreciated you are.
Hang on, Nakaya, just one second. Nakaya.
It was about the here and now.
There you go.
The few existential moments I did have eventually got pushed so far to the back burner that for me, the question of whether or not I could make it to my 18th birthday had a clear answer: no. And I was comfortable with that. It was a fact to me. As I got into the later part of my high school career, though, I started to grow less comfortable with it. There was getting to be more and more queer visibility in media, and the option to keep going seemed less like a daydream and more realistic. The older I got, it seemed I went from "I'm definitely going to make it" to "I might be able to" "the least I can do is try." When I graduated, I was still so unsure about my place in the world, but I felt like I should at least make an effort to figure it out. After all, it's not like I had a lot going on at that point. I wasn't in school anymore, so my weekdays were pretty free. I had a lot of time for an existential quest, if you will. My worker at the time reached out to me and asked me if I would like to join an LGBTQ youth support group at my local Department of Social Services in Prince George's County. And I jumped at the opportunity. While I was there, I met so many wonderful people, and it ended up changing my life in ways that I never could have foreseen. The group was led and ran by an openly queer worker, and it was my first time seeing queer people. On TV and in movies, they were usually teens, but to have them there in the flesh was so amazing to me. It was so hard not to marvel. They were fully grown Black queer people living their lives. They went to work every day. They went home. Sometimes they sat in traffic or something. But the point was that they were there. They had made it. Things only took off from there. Joining the support led me to so many wonderful opportunities, including serving as an HRC Youth Ambassador and working with All Children, All Families program, meeting other queer adults, and meeting allies in many different spaces. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Things that seem like not a big deal to you, or like unrecognized effort to you, they don't go unnoticed by the youth you serve. Your very existence as someone in the work who cares about and advocates for LGBTQ plus youth is so meaningful to me and to every youth you encounter, whether you realize it or not. Every time you wake up and make choices, even ones that seem small at the time, you're giving a hug to younger me and to all the queer foster youth who didn't realize they were capable of making it this far. You're giving us hope. Life is super weird right now. Every time I go to the grocery store, I feel like I'm in zombie land. My work calls are frequently interrupted by the excited barking of my dog. I've been in several meetings in my pajamas. It's all such a mess, and I know if I feel this way as an adult, I can only imagine how much more confusing and trying it is for someone younger than me. But what gives me hope is knowing that despite all this, humans persevere. Because it's all we know how to do. It's just matter of fact, you know? And I see us doing so every time I get in a meeting with my boss and when we check in as a team. Every time my coworkers and I are researching innovative ways to reach out to our youth and keep them involved. Every time someone's pet interrupts a Zoom meeting and is met with fond laughter and smiles. And the youth you serve feel the same way about you. Your resilient and consistent effort to make yourself an ally to us is what keeps us going. We don't know what will happen today or tomorrow. We're kind of living in a sci-fi novel right now. But what we can count on is that people like you will be out there, finding a way to of moments. And then on behalf of the foster youth whose lives you touched, I can thank you so much for everything you do, especially the little things. Because of people like you, I can proudly say not only did I make it to my 21st birthday, I'm looking forward to many more. The hope you spread not only changes lives, it saves them. Please keep on. We need you now more than ever. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nakaya. Really appreciate it. And next, we're going to hear from Ashley RHODES-COURTER. Advocacy is nothing new to Ashley RHODES-COURTER, who, along with her husband, Eric Smith, serves on HRC's Parents for Transgender Equality Council. For 5 intense years, Ashley and Eric served as foster parents to more than 25 children. Their oldest daughter is transgender and was adopted from foster care. Ashley spent nearly a decade in foster care herself as a child. Her adverse experiences inspired her to become an advocate and social worker. Today, Ashley and Eric are the proud parents of 3 young children and are the founders of the Foundation for Sustainable Families. Their nonprofit provides direct services to children and families and works collaboratively with other organizations to meet the needs of the most vulnerable. Ashley is also the New York Times and international best-selling author of the books 3 Little Words and 3 More Words. She's also one of our favorite guest webinar presenters from this year's ACAF webinar series. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. This is a really exciting opportunity for me to share and primarily extend my immense gratitude. Child welfare is something that I live personally, professionally. My birth mother was a single teen mom living in foster care herself when she got pregnant with me. And as the cycle of abuse predicts, my brother and I ended up in the foster care system, and I spent almost 10 years in care as a child, where I had 14 different placements. I later learned that more than 25% of my caregivers were or became convicted felons. So admittedly, my story is one that does represent some of the darker sides of the child welfare system, which is why it is such an incredible honor for me to have the opportunity to spend my adult life thanking and praising those who go so above and beyond for our children and our families. We have such diversity in your programming, in the homes of where children are placed. All of these elements come together. And for me, being able to look back on my experiences, I am filled with so much hope and so much gratitude for how far things have come. But I also recognize that we still have very far to go. I live in Florida, and sadly, across the country, we still have discriminatory laws in place that are putting barriers in the way of finding permanency for children who desperately deserve to be loved and cared for. So part of my advocacy as an adult is bringing about awareness of why these issues are important, why these children matter, why kids end up in the foster care system in the first place. But I also get to praise all of the dedicated professionals and parents like all of you who are really striving to make the world a better place, but not just striving to do that, you're going above and beyond because you walk the walk every day. You're not just going to your jobs flippantly, you are showing above even other organizations across the globe even that all children matter, all families matter. The fact that today there are still organizations that can deny homes to children just based on whether or not someone is single, based on gender, based on whatever bias or prejudice. For me as a former foster youth, that is devastating. I, as a child, languishing in care, being abused, I mean, I would have given anything to be loved and cared for by qualified parents and people who wanted to call themselves my parents. I think having this idea of a nuclear family wasn't even something on my radar. I was just desperate to be safe and to be heard and to be loved. So any organization that has discriminatory practices in place that eliminate the number of candidates for possible families, I mean, for me, that doesn't even compute. So a former foster kid is thanking you for opening your minds and your hearts and your doors to all families and all people who want to extend their love to a child. I will forever be grateful. I took a lot of my adverse childhood experiences, and a lot of that is what inspired me to become a social worker myself. So I'm very much in the trenches with all of you on the day-to-day. Everything I gave to my caseworkers and social workers and CASAs, and I'm getting it all back. And so I was finally adopted at the age of 12, and my adoptive mom pretty much just laughs at me every day because my kids, they're dishing it all back. So I have this really unique perspective, having been a foster kid, but also going on to get a master's degree in social work and being a clinical social worker. I am amazed at the incredible progress that's being made to ensure that research-based, evidence-based top practices are being implemented. You again are walking the walk, but then there's more. Much to our surprise, one of our kiddos that we had the just pure joy of welcoming into our permanent family happens to be trans as well. So we found ourselves in a position where we were learning all that we could to support our kids, because we don't give up on these kids. No matter what their needs are, no matter who they are, we as parents embrace them and love them unconditionally. And I was so grateful to find this immense resource in the Human Rights Campaign, and particularly the All Children, All Families program, because it just encompasses everything that I am now as a parent and a professional. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this incredible network. I want to thank all of you and echo all of the incredible sentiments you've already heard, because everything that you are doing matters. Burnout rates are incredibly high. This is not for the faint of heart. I have yet to meet any educator, child welfare professional, CASA volunteer, whatever. No one ever is like, obviously I'm in child welfare for those fat paychecks. So we know that you are here because you want to make a difference, because you want to see change. And I can tell you that your participation in this program and the advocacy that you do on behalf of the families that you serve is truly saving and changing lives. So with all of the different hats that I wear on the regular, I want to extend my sincere gratitude for all that you do, for those sleepless nights, for the time away from your own families, for all that you're doing to ensure that every child has an opportunity for a bedtime story, and to have a tummy full of food, and to have people in their corner who are going to help them achieve the resilience that will save their lives. I feel this to my core because my own brother never found successful permanency, and several years ago died from a drug overdose. So our stories went in very different directions. So I just want to reinforce that this is a very personal and sometimes painful, these reminders that we carry, they are not always pleasant to navigate, but we can overcome anything the world throws at us because of the support systems. But when you put barriers in place that prevent kids from having the most opportunity for people to love them, that is what should be illegal, and that is what should be criminal. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. I hope that you will share this work with other community leaders and other organizations, because we are still enrolling other groups to be a part of these trainings and have these resources. This goes so far beyond whatever preconceived notions one might have when they're bringing these issues to light. This is about love. This is about acceptance. This is about permanency for children, and ensuring that kids like me get to survive and get to thrive, whereas kids like my brother will never see the end of their 20s. And these deaths are preventable, and they are going to have such better outcomes because of the contributions of parents and professionals like you. And I'm blowing way past my time. I tend to get a little chatty. So I'm going to turn it back to Allison, but just my deepest gratitude. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ashley. It was great. And thank you, NAKIYA, too. Thanks both of you for sharing your stories and helping to root today's celebration in the real life impact of this work. I'm going to spend just a few minutes now sharing some more details about the report with you. This year, our Changemakers annual report celebrates 100 organizations across the country that partnered closely with All Children, All Families in order to best support LGBTQ children, youth, and families. That's an increase of 40% over last year. These organizations employ more than 15,000 and serve more than 600,000 annually. So why focus on LGBTQ inclusion in child welfare? We know that LGBTQ young people are overrepresented in foster care and they are at increased risk for poor treatment and negative outcomes. Too many find themselves placed with caregivers who are unwilling or don't know how to be affirming. Much work remains to be done to ensure that all young people, including LGBTQ young people, move through the world feeling a sense of love and belonging. We also know that LGBTQ adults still face barriers to foster parenting and adoption despite legal gains, as Ashley shared. As a result of history of exclusion and the hostile political climate today, many LGBTQ people are unsure whether they can foster or adopt, and they fear discrimination, doubting the availability of inclusive agencies near them. All Children, All Families partners with our participating organizations to remove these barriers faced by LGBTQ youth and families by implementing our benchmarks of LGBTQ inclusion. ACAS benchmarks fall in these policy and practice areas. Each focuses on ensuring that anti-LGBTQ bias does not get in the way of life-saving services for children and families. I want to briefly recognize the organizations that hit each of our 3 tiers of recognition in the report, but first I want to give a special congratulations to these 6 participants who are still in progress toward their tier of recognition. We appreciate your hard work and commitment and look forward to celebrating you in one of our tiers soon. Congratulations to our Building Foundation for Inclusion organizations. You've successfully built your foundation for inclusive practice with key policies like non-discrimination protections inclusive of the LGBTQ community. Here are a few of the change makers at these organizations. Congratulations to these change makers. And our solid Foundation for Inclusion organizations have implemented the core benchmarks in each of those policy and practice areas I showed you earlier. Congratulations to these change makers at our solid foundation organizations. And our innovators are going beyond the core benchmarks and demonstrating innovation in each of those policy and practice areas. Thank you all for your leadership. Here are a few of the change makers, including NAKIYA, LYNCH in the center of the screen here, at our innovator organizations. A few more change makers at our innovator organizations. Thank you all for sending in your Zoom photos. We know that, like us, you are operating remotely right now, and we are so glad that you all were able to take some photo shoots with your teams so we could help celebrate you. I'm going to close with my favorite part of the report. It features profiles of several innovators and the families they serve. They cover diverse topics from the work it takes to move from open minds to action for LGBTQ inclusion, building a gender inclusive workplace and how that translates into an organization that is equipped to support clients as they navigate the realities of a biased system. Leading among organizational partners through statewide training programs or local faith-based advocacy programs. The power of an agency to help LGBT prospective parents, in this case a single gay man, find possibility models for their path to parenthood. Finally, moving the national needle on LGBTQ affirming foster care and behavioral health services with our friends at Devereux Advanced Behavioral Health. Now to close our celebration, it's my honor to introduce Dr. Yolanda Graham at Devereux Advanced Behavioral Health. In February, we were in the early stages of planning for our release event in partnership with Devereux, Arizona. Then at one point in the midst of COVID-19 chaos, we weren't even sure if there'd be a report to release. So this is uncharted territory for us all. We reached out to many of you and your response was overwhelmingly clear. Yes, you remain committed to completing the participation process with us. And yes, you are looking forward to a celebration. So I'm grateful to the Devereux team for sticking with us while we've decided the best path forward and for being here today as a partner in this virtual event. Board certified in general psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry, Dr. Graham is Senior Vice President and Chief Medical Officer, Chief Clinical Officer at Devereux Advanced Behavioral Health. She completed her undergraduate studies at Cornell University, received her medical degree at the State University of New York at Buffalo, and completed her residency and fellowship at Emory University. Dr. Graham is an expert in the fields of childhood trauma, commercial sexual exploitation, and LGBTQ informed care. Please welcome Dr. Graham.
Hello, HRC family. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Many thanks to the leadership team of HRC, including you, Allison, and Alfonso, for the opportunity to share in the release of All Children, All Families, 2020 annual report. 100 organizations celebrated, which is really awesome. Devereux Advanced Behavioral Health is honored and thrilled to be recognized for our ongoing efforts to implement best practices and policies that promote equality and acceptance. When I joined Devereux in 2010 as medical director of our Georgia Center, I was impressed with our treatment and programming for LGBT youth, but I kept asking myself, can we do more? And there was, in fact, more that we could do. So we're doing it. HRC's All Children, All Families campaign provided us with the blueprint and the technical assistance that allowed us to collaborate successfully. In 2012, our Arizona Center earned HRC's Seal of Recognition. In the following years, our Florida, Georgia, and Pennsylvania centers all earned their seals of recognition. I now serve as Chief Medical and Chief Clinical Officer at Devereux, and my goal this year was to ensure that all of our child serving programs earned their seals of recognition. We achieved that goal this year, adding our Colorado, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Texas centers. 3 of those centers, Arizona, Florida, and Massachusetts, Rhode Island, all earned the highest level of recognition as innovators. I am so proud of Devereux and so proud of our team. But we know that none of us can do this work alone. And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Yvette Jackson, the Executive Director of our Arizona Center. We wouldn't be here today without her leadership and guidance. Continuing to raise the bar, Dr. Jackson supported us in adopting the American Psychological Association's gender affirmative model and implementing a gender support plan to better support youth in home, school, and community settings. I also want to congratulate all the other organizations who've earned their seals of recognition this year. I'm so proud to be on this journey with you. For me, this is all driven by Devereux's commitment to inclusion and solidarity. We've increased our recruitment of LGBTQ staff and foster families and updated our policies and benefits to make sure that we are fully supporting LGBTQ youth and employees. Lastly, it's not lost on me that in this moment, we are in the midst of a global pandemic, which has placed our families, communities, businesses, and each of us in some way in crisis. Many of our LGBTQ youth are physically separated from their usual support systems and in need of additional external supports. This is where you come in. If you have not already partnered with the Human Rights Campaign to expand this world of inclusion and acceptance for LGBTQ youth, now is a great time to do so. We have a responsibility as child welfare workers to ensure that every LGBTQ youth is treated with dignity and respect. We need you, but more importantly, our LGBTQ youth need you. Visit All Children, All Families page on HRC's website to learn how you can become a partner. You can do it. Thanks, HRC.
Thank you so much, Dr. Graham. And I just want to thank you all again so much for joining us for today's celebration. That concludes our programming. And again, thank you for joining. We hope you'll continue celebrating as Pride season kicks off just shortly here in June. And take care, everyone. Thank you so much to each of our panelists and for Alfonso for joining us today. Really appreciated hearing from you all. And take care and be well, everyone.